as Democratic Congressman Krishnamurthi. And Congressman, look, the Senate's bill is expected, as we just heard from Kevin, it is expected to raise the deficit by nearly $3.3 trillion, even more than the House version of the bill. From where you sit, what are your biggest concerns with the changes coming out of the Senate, and do you expect it to pass?
Well, every time I've thought that the Republicans aren't going to vote for this horrible bill, I've been proven wrong. They call it the big, beautiful bill. I call it the large, lousy law. And one of the biggest reasons is because of its cuts to Medicaid and the social safety net. This Senate version cuts at least $1 trillion from Medicaid. And the CBO says that more than 11 million Americans are going to go without health insurance. But it also cuts food stamps or SNAP benefits, as well as educational benefits. As a child of food stamps and public housing myself, this is a personal issue to me. When Trump came to Capitol Hill, he said, don't F around with Medicaid. But that's exactly what they're doing in the Senate and soon in the House. And I think that it goes totally contrary to the interests of the American people, as well as the constituents of all those people who are going to vote for it on the other side.
And, you know, as you mentioned, the CBO estimates legislation would leave around 12 million more people uninsured within the next decade. And there are several Republicans, including even Senator Josh Hawley, who was not happy with the cuts to Medicaid. But I guess as I listen to you, we spoke to Senator Amy Klobuchar yesterday. Do Democrats have any power in swaying some of these Republicans, whether it's Senator Hawley, Senator Murkowski, those who actually seem to have real concerns about making deep cuts to benefits like Medicaid?
I think the most important thing is we got to shine a light on the harm that, you know, this bill does to average, ordinary people, including in their states, and then hold them accountable. They can either choose Trump or they can choose their constituents. Trump says that failing to vote for the bill would be the ultimate betrayal of him. But voting for the bill would be the ultimate betrayal of their constituents. And so we've got to make that absolutely clear and make sure that voters and the public know how these senators and then members of the House stand on this particular bill.
And on that note, I want to ask really quickly about Republican Senator Thom Tillis, because he abruptly announced he's not going to be running for re-election right after he voted not to move forward, with supporting this vote. And it came just hours after President Trump essentially threatened to primary him on social media. Right. What do you make of that? Does it suggest anything about President Trump's grasp on GOP lawmakers? I just wonder how you viewed what we saw play out.
Oh, Trump has a total lock on the party. And Tillis did this because, as I said, you could either choose Trump or choose your constituents. I'm hoping that Tillis, in signaling his retirement, is going to have the freedom to vote against this bill and maybe get a couple others to do so as well. But yes, I think that he said he wants to spend more time with his family, but I think he also wants to spend more time with his conscience. And I think that you can't vote for this bill in good conscience.
I want to switch gears really quickly while I have you, because you're also a member of the House Intelligence Committee, and CNN has new reporting on an effort by House Republican leadership to come up with new ways to restrict the classified information that lawmakers receive. And this comes after the White House indicated it'll limit intelligence sharing. I see you shaking your head. What concerns you so much about this, and what is your reaction to this actually unfolding here?
Look, I wrote a letter the other day to the White House pointing that the law requires that classified information and information about the intelligence community be shared with Congress. This, by the way, is a law that was put in place after secret assassinations, secret wars, domestic surveillance by the intelligence community had happened, and the American people learned about it and said no more. And so they required the executive branch to share with Congress classified information and information to do oversight of the executive branch. So when they fail or they refuse to provide this type of information, basically bad things happen. Where there's no accountability, bad things happen. And that's what's going to happen here if they don't share this information. And we in Congress must insist on getting that information so we can make sure that this executive branch doesn't run amok.
And on this type of information, I was looking at some new reporting from the Washington Post on an intercepted call by the U.S. government on Iranian officials saying the Iranians were, quote, heard saying Trump's strike on Iran proves less devastating than expected, and reports the administration is calling that intelligence, quote, insignificant. Have you received any intel on how this strike actually, or I guess the level of devastation this strike may have caused, and what do you make of that report?
I have received that information through multiple what they call products or documents provided by the intelligence community. I can't get into it, into that classified information, but what I can say is that the intelligence community doesn't have answers about how to account for hundreds of kilograms of highly enriched uranium or secret components or even undeclared sites. Definitely facilities above ground were severely damaged. There's no question about it. But to say that the nuclear program was obliterated is way too broad. It's an overstatement. It's misguided. Look, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That just can't happen. And so now we have to get to the bargaining table and negotiate this peacefully because we know a military solution is insufficient. We tried it, and here we are wanting to go back to the negotiating table with the Iranians right now.
And this comes as we're hearing from the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency that restarting enriching uranium could happen again in, quote, a matter of months. Congressman Krishnamurthi, I got to leave it there, but really appreciate the time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.